to No Fly Zone Radio TV with your host, Biff Sweeney.
Hi guys, welcome to No Fly Zone Radio TV. I am your host, Biff Sweeney, and week 4 is now in the books, and the Jets are now a miserable 1-3, losing to the Seattle Seahawks 27-17 in MetLife Stadium. It was the poor showing by the Jets yet again. The defense, we'll start with the defense. The defense this season, to me, was slated as a top 5 defense coming into the season. It's playing like a bottom 5 defense. And we'll start with the coaches. Casey Rogers, does anybody actually know where he is? Is he gone AWOL? Is he gone on holiday or something? Because there's no sign of him. And the Jets have, since he came in, the Jets have took a major step back. They're missing tackles. They're not playing for each other. They're not playing fast. They're not playing hard. And as I'll go back, they're missing tackles. And they're not wrapping up. The coverage is gone fierce. It's gone. It's terrible, the coverage lately. We've got some talented guys in the back end. Like, we've got Pryor, we got Gilchrist. I don't even know where he's gone because there's been no sign of him. We've got a few good cornerbacks in Williams, Screen, Revis. And to be honest, Revis these days looks like a shot of his former self. And to be honest, guys, it looks like the days of Revis Island is over. It could end up being at the end of the season, the Jets could end up moving on because the amount of money he's earning, he's not playing up to scratch to earn that type of money. I think Screen has played well this season. I think Williams has played in spurts. I think the New York Jets have been misusing the Calvin Pryor all season. We all know it. We said it in the first season with Calvin Pryor. Rex Ryan tried to use him as a free safety because we didn't have a free safety, and his coverage skills are very weak, and it showed that season. Last year he played an awful lot in the box with wide receivers coming over the middle. He was hitting them, he was stopping the run, he was getting into the backfield. I'll tell you one thing, and I've seen it there against Seattle Seahawks, and they used their players properly in the back end. Cam Chancellor is the same type of safety. He's a strong safety, and they use him in the box. They use him just outside the box, waiting for guys to come across the middle to smash them. They use him in the back. They use him in the run game and everything. But the thing is, they don't really use him in coverage because that's where he's weak. Now, Calvin Pryor isn't a patch on Chancellor, but the thing is, he's very weak in coverage, but he's very strong in the box. And the Jets have not been using that, not been using him properly. They've been sticking him on wide receivers, they've been sticking him on tight ends. He doesn't have the speed to keep up with these guys. So why do it? I don't know. I think Darren Lee now on the defense is playing very well. He was up against Jimmy Graham. He had some good coverage on Jimmy Graham, but Jimmy Graham was just playing at another level. He was just catching everything. He was a beast. The thing is, last season they didn't use Jimmy Graham right. Now they're using him right. And look what they're getting out of him. David Harris has looked slow this season. He's been missing tackles. Is the end coming for the hitman David Harris as a New York Jet? It's possible, and it's looking like it to me. Let's talk about this defensive line and the outside linebackers and the pass rush, because it hasn't been there since week 1. For instance, the Kansas City game, the Jets went up against an offensive line that had 2 backup guards, so the Jets should have went and had a feast. They didn't. I don't think they even recorded a sack in that game, and that's bad, especially with a defensive line that's meant to be top 5, probably the best defensive line in the game. They're not playing like it. The outside linebackers, Molden doesn't look like himself this season. He's put on the weight that he was asked to put on. Jenkins come on. He's looking like he's a good player. But the thing is, I don't think this defensive line and the outside linebackers are suited to a 4-3. These defensive line guys are all defensive ends that are suited to a 3-4, and we don't have a nose tackle because we didn't replace Snacks, and that's a big problem, and it's shown it. The outside linebackers, I think they're suffering as well because they're 3-4 outside linebackers as well. And the difference between a 3-4 and 4-3, and the 3-4, you've got an extra man in the back end. So you could have an extra outside linebacker in coverage. You could have an extra outside linebacker pass rushing, or you could have an extra cornerback or safety in. The Jets don't have that, and I think that's hurting them big time. Now, let's talk about the offense. The offense, the last few weeks hasn't been playing well. Look, they played really well against the poor Bills team. They kept the Bills in that game as well. Look, they could have ended up losing that game to a poor Bills team, but the Bills were missing players through injury, through suspension. But anyway, first half, Ryan Fitzpatrick at times looked okay. Other times he looked like a deer in headlights. He was staring down his receivers all day. Brendan Marshall had a great day. Quincy Nuno had a great day. We were missing Eric Decker. It showed. I thought Anderson done well, but there was a few times where he beat his man and Fitzpatrick underthrew him or overthrew him. I know he had a couple of drops. He had one drop where he shouldn't have dropped the ball. But the thing is, you have to realise he's an undrafted rookie in his first season. It's not often you get an undrafted rookie that's playing that well. But we're now seeing what happened to Devin Smith is happening to Anderson now as well. Where Fitzpatrick can't hit him properly because he's underthrown him or overthrown him. But I thought his accuracy in this game was off big time. With an awful lot of his throws, they were off big time. He should have been intercepted more than 3 times. I know an awful lot of guys on Twitter and Facebook said there was one of the interceptions wasn't his fault, but at the end of the day, it's still a turnover. It's still an interception. It's still not good enough. Brendan Marshall had a big day against the Seattle Seahawks cornerback Sherman. It's probably at the moment he's probably the best cornerback in the country, in the league. But for one thing, you do not keep going after Sherman, especially if you're not an elite quarterback. And to be honest, guys, Fitzpatrick is a good backup quarterback. He's not an elite quarterback. He's not a starting quarterback. I don't care what you say. He's not a starting quarterback in this league, and it's shown it this season. He kept staring down his wide receivers. He kept going after Marshall, and it was just, it was going to happen. It was on the cards that he was going to get picked off by Sherman. As I was saying, he was staring down his wide receivers. Bilal Powell gave the Jets a spark on offense. The second half, they went away from Bilal Powell. Forte looked slow. I tell you one difference that I noticed in this game when Forte was running up the middle looking for a gap. The offensive line kept coming together and it was just like a big mess, a big pile. So he was hitting the wall, the offensive line, and when he tried to spin around to move out around the sides, he was getting stopped because he was too slow. Let's roll it back to last season and Chris Ivory. He got an awful lot of his gains from doing that, where he'd hit a hole and it was plugged, he'd spin around and he'd go for about 40 or 30 yards. Ivory looked faster as well than Forte has looked this season. Forte, to be honest, I think they misused him in the first 2 games. They overused him in the run game and it's affecting him now. I haven't seen him using him in coverage in the last few games as well properly, because like we all know, he has serious hands. He's really good hands in catching the ball, and you can use him as a slot receiver or wide out. But the run game was non-existent in this game, when there was times where Seattle only rushed 3 guys and put guys into coverage. There was opportunities there for the run game. They didn't use it. As I've said last week in our podcast and the week before, when the Jets get so far up the field to go away from the run game, and it's a head scratcher. Is that on Fitzpatrick or is it on Changeli? But these guys need to shake it up. They need to do something on offense, even on the defense. I don't care. Like last week, Todd Bowles said, we're going to have this come to Jesus talk meeting. I don't care if you have a come to Jesus meeting. I don't care if you have a kumbaya sing along or a ring and Rosie sing along. Just do something. Like Todd Bowles, for instance, he's making too many errors. He's making rookie errors this season in each game, and to be honest, it doesn't look like he's learning. He's standing on the sideline. He looks like a mannequin on the sideline. Like he looks like he's not doing a thing on the sideline, and he's just pussing. I don't know what it is, but he's going to have to shake himself up. He's going to have to shake these coaches up on defense and offense, because the Jets have talent everywhere on this team, but they don't look like it, and they're not playing like it. They're not playing as a unit, as a team. Now, certain guys on the offense and defense called for Fitzpatrick to come back, and they hounded Fitzpatrick, and they hounded the media, and they hounded Bowles and McCagnum. Now that he's back, he got his 12 million. He doesn't look like he's playing like a starting quarterback, to be honest. And that's where I'm going to go into the scores in the game. Now the Jets had a great touchdown from Marshall, and in the second half they had a touchdown from Sharon Peake on his debut. And I thought Sharon Peake had a great debut. I thought he had a few great catches on that touchdown as well. Everybody stopped bar him, and it's a credit to Sharon Peake for not stopping, because as you're taught as a youngster playing in Pee Wee football all the way up to the NFL or college, you play through the whistle. That's what he did. Nobody else did. A fair balls to him. I'm delighted for Sharon Peake. I thought he had a great game. I thought Anderson played well. I thought Billy Plow played well. I thought the offensive line in this game took a step back, a major step back. This one player in this game that actually surprised me and how bad he played was actually a guy that I've been very impressed with in the last few weeks, and that's Brian Winters. Brian Winters had a penalty against him for a slide, a headbutt. He came up from behind Bennett and headbutted him with a dirty play. To me, you don't come up from behind and do that to somebody. If you have any balls, you face somebody and that's the way you do it. But you don't come up behind somebody and give him a headbutt, and then you're off the field with a concussion. that was stupid. It cost your team as well. Very, very stupid. The offensive line, it took a step back. It's hurting the run game. It's hurting the throwing game as well, because there was too much pressure on Fitzpatrick in this game as well. Now, Fitzpatrick, for instance, in this game, there was 3 defensive line guys pass rushing. The rest went into coverage. So what he did he decide to do, and this is another thing against him, he decided to run the ball into a sack, and he got sacked. That was another thing. So he seems to be regressing with each game, Fitzpatrick. So the next game is on the road to a place where the New York Jets don't play well at all, and that's against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh have an elite quarterback, hell of a head coach. He's good coaches underneath him, and they have a very good team and a very, very good offense. I'm expecting the Jets to get thumped in this game. Now, for me, if Fitzpatrick regresses big time in this game, you let him play out the game, and then you make the change, and you let either Petty or you let Gino take the ones for the full week and go against Arizona in week 6. Usually myself and Rich on No Fly Zone Radio, the podcast, we do 3 duds, and then a man in a match. Now, it's very hard to do in this game because the Jets didn't really play well. But I'll start off with 3 duds. Number 1 is Fitzpatrick, because he's regressing. He's staring down his wide receivers. He's making mistakes constantly. He's throwing interceptions. He's 9 interceptions in 2 games. And he's on track for well over 30. Close to 40 interceptions if he plays the whole 16 games and keeps playing that way. Number 2 dud has to be the coaches. I think the coaches have took a step back this year. Casey Rogers, as I said, looks like he's gone AWOL. Bones is still making rookie mistakes. Changeli seems like he's taking a catnap up in the box now and again. My number 3 dud is Brian Winters for that stupid headbutt, that dirty headbutt from behind, and ended up getting a concussion. Now, my 3 studs, Quincy Nunwa. I thought Quincy Nunwa played really well. He's been playing very well all season. My number 2 stud, is Leonard Williams. I think Leonard Williams is he's having a great season this season so far. He seems to be the only one that's actually playing at a top level. Like Mohamed Wilkerson looks like he took a step back, and I don't know if they're misusing Richardson or what, but he doesn't look like he's making a big impact this season either. My number 3 guy is Sharon Peake on his debut, getting playing through the whistle, getting his touchdown, making all the catches that was thrown to him. And my man of the match is Bilal Powell, because he brought the spark to the team. There was a few times where Fitzpatrick threw the ball at him and could have ended up getting him killed, but he ended up catching the ball and making plays. So he's my man, my No Fly Zone Radio TV man of the match. I'm just going to bring it to an end there, guys. You can get the show is on Twitter. You can get the show on Twitter. It's at No Fly Zone Radio. I'm on Twitter. I'm at Biffroo Jet. The show is on Facebook, No Fly Zone Radio. And you can get my co-host on the podcast, Rich Tinley, at Tinley24. You can get the show on iTunes. You can get it on Stitcher. And hopefully I'm going to put this up on YouTube. And let me know what you think. It's my first ever video for No Fly Zone Radio. I was probably a bit jittery in this video, but however, as I said, it's my first video. And if you like it, I'll keep going. So just let me know. Give me the thumbs up on Twitter, or not Twitter, on YouTube. Let me know what you think of the show below on YouTube. So it's Slán from me, and go Jets.